Hello to anyone listening, and welcome to another episode of the Tell Talks podcast. Today I'm joined by co-host Millie, one of our junior accounts managers. I'm one of Tell's producers. My name's Jess, and we are joined by the very lovely, very talented Aidan Sadler. Hello, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hello, my name is Aidan Sadler. I am a cabaret artist. I specialise in singing, stand-up comedianing, and being a professional cry for help.
Professional cry for help, I love it. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about where you come from and what it is known for in the public eye?
So I'm from a small town in Kent called Gravesend. It's not known for much. I guess it's most famously known for being where Pocahontas died after she got stolen by that white man.
Oh, lovely. What's Surrey known for?
Probably not a lot, to be fair. It's not very exciting.
Well, I got told off by my mother because, hi mum. So the first episode of this podcast came out last week. This timeline's a bit funky for anyone that's listening, but the first episode came out last Friday, and my mum wasn't very pleased with the fact that I'd said where I'm from is known for very little apart from where Carlin's made. So I must rephrase, I'm from a nice market town in the south of Derbyshire. Where what else have we got? It's the birthplace of Paddy Considine, who is like the second cousin of my best friend from home, which is random, but there we go. Not in trouble anymore. Sorry, mum. Yeah. So
wait, what's your town called? What's your town called?
Swadlincote, Burton-on-Trent, that sort of area. East Midlands.
Swadlincote, Burton-on-Trent. Those sound made up.
They may as well be.
It's a fairy tale.
Yeah, truly. So there was something that happened in our second year of uni, so like 2 years ago now, where someone's cows got out. And it's not like a particularly farmy place. So they went through this pub and went through into the beer garden, and it made the news. It was all very... Yeah, a bit of a fever dream, because of being in York now, you hear about what's happening back home, and it's just like, how is that place real? It's, all over the place. Yeah,
I'm going to start a petition. I'm going to start a petition as proof that it's not real.
Yes.
Brilliant. We'll sign it.
Yes, absolutely. So you do a lot of fringe theatre. So do you want to explain a little bit to the people who are listening about what fringe theatre is?
So Fringe, I guess, across the world is usually an arts festival where anybody at any level can show off anything that they want to do, whether it be straight theatre, stage work, music, mixed medium performance art, poetry, stand-up comedy. And I've just been sucked into this world. I mean, I debuted last year, so it was my first ever year playing the Fringe game, and my God, is it addictive.
Yeah. I went one time and I've been itching to go back ever since. I went in 2018, back in the day, back in the normal days, the before times. And I was in a production of Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus.
Ooh, Shakespeare always does well. There will always be people to see Shakespeare at Fringe.
We did sell quite well, because I think the average Fringe audience is like 3, isn't it? Something like that. So we did quite well to sell as many as we did, but the whole time, I think we were there for 10 days, something like that. It's just an absolute, like, you can't remember what happened. I got home, my parents were like, how was it? I was like, do you know what? I couldn't tell you. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, everything happens so fast.
It's a whirlwind, and it's its own microclimate, and you'll go there. You'll come home and talk to people and be like, what's happened? What's changed? And they'll be like, it's been 2 weeks, obviously nothing. And you just get sucked into it.
Yeah, time operates differently in the Fringe, clearly. But
I saw you performing last summer, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. It was a highlight of my week when I was there. And what was it like for you? Sort of, how did you feel debuting your show and sort of going into the Fringe world?
The whole thing was an emotional experience, because like you have these ideas, and like we had no idea whether people were gonna like this idea that we've had. Like, what if we took 80s music and made a cabaret show with a through line story and stand-up comedy? Um, and yeah, I like, because it was my first time doing it. It was
Yeah.
really nice. It was surreal, really odd.
Amazing. How do you feel now you're going to go back and do a lot more this summer then? Are you sort of, do you feel more
You know,
prepared? Are you
you
still as
know how
nervous?
you know how like pregnant people forget the trauma and do it again.
What an analogy.
It's a
It is
bit
so
like that.
hard.
It's Yeah, I've decided to upscale my work this year, and I'm just terrified that maybe I shouldn't have. Like, I'm infinitely confident in my product because I know that my show is my baby and I love it to pieces, but
Yeah,
I feel
sure.
more prepared in some areas and
Hmm.
more unprepared in the new grounds that we're trying to break into. It's kind of like we're becoming a small fish in a big pond as opposed to the big fish that we were last year.
Yeah. Do we get to hear anything about this new ground, or is this
Any,
all
any
spoilers?
teasers?
Yeah.
I guess the new ground is our production values have gone up.
Oh.
Inevitably, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all
How
I
am I
want to tell you.
looking though?
Yeah, keep them guessing, keep them
And
guessing.
Yeah,
we're
well,
I'll have to
we'll
buy
be
we're
there.
with a
tickets.
bigger
Yeah,
venue this year. We're in a bigger venue. We're going with the big four this year. So yeah, it's all a little bit new and exciting and scary and all of those words.
yeah, I bet.
Brilliant, yeah.
Well, me and Millie will be front row.
Yeah.
Thank
we
you.
we
I
um pricing
need
it
all the
all up
help I can
yesterday.
get. Just
We'll be there.
Yeah, you'll hear some like a horrible yobbish hollering from the front row and be like, "Yeah,
It's
that
them.
sounds right."
that's Edinburgh. That's Edinburgh in a nutshell. That could be anyone.
We'll fit
Yeah,
in
true,
perfectly then.
true. Yeah,
Brilliant.
there you go. Well, we were pricing it up yesterday, and we were like, right, who else can we drag up there? Because it's so much cheaper the more of you can get up there. And it's like, right, who do we know that we can get to come up for a couple of days?
It's going to be a
But
weird group.
it is
We're
going to be
to
so weird.
bring lots of people.
Yeah, this is the crossover everyone wanted
Yeah.
in all our friendship
Yeah.
group. But yeah. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about Tropicana, about your show? Because my understanding is that you had a little bit of a sellout run somewhere.
A little bit of a sellout.
Only
Yeah.
bit.
That's really exciting.
So it was an idea that I had in January 2021. I, over the course of the pandemic, suffered from every iteration of every mental health situation that you can have, as a lot of performers did. And I thought, I've got all these bags of trauma now. Why don't I just unleash them on stage under the guise of this is a fun 80s cabaret show? So I put it all together and I involved all of my friends that were sort of freelance, either freelance writers, freelance production managers, that were still out of work because of the pandemic. Took a redundancy package that I'd received from a previous job and just threw it at the thing. We researched and developed it in my living room. So lots of me trying to map out how big the stage was going to be. It wasn't the size that I'd mapped out. It was much bigger. It was all very
Always the
confusing.
Yeah, I
way.
was going to say it never is. Yeah,
Always the way.
yeah,
And yeah, so it's kind of like, I think one reviewer said that it's like a showcase of who I am. And I think that's probably quite fair because it was me being like, I kind of want to show the world who I am, like introduce myself to the fringe circuit by being well and truly me.
yeah. What a lovely way of putting it as well. A showcase.
That is a debut. So, yeah.
Yeah, you picked a heck of a year to debut as well. Like just coming out of COVID when things were still a bit, a bit dicey and all the rest of
We
it.
had
But
no idea if it was going on. We had absolutely no idea. Like even up until the week before, even on the train up there, I was like, "Is this about to be cancelled? Is all of this for nothing?" Because like everyone was dropping like flies. Like the big four venues cancelled their seasons, and like we showed up and it felt like we were doing something illegal because we were like the only people that were putting
Yeah.
work on
Yeah.
at the time. But obviously it worked out massively in our favor. It was a great year to debut because the reviewers were forced to see us. They had no option. There was nothing else on.
Perfect.
Grab them while you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Reviews are very hard to come by.
So the show sort of encompasses a lot of 80s music, like you said, and I was just wondering, what draws you to that? What's the sort of inspiration behind bringing that into your work? Is that something you relate to, that kind of music and style?
So the new wave movement sort of started in London over the late 70s and early 80s. It's very gender defying, very dramatic. It was really the sort of new romantics and that sort of movement that was very underground. And then you had artists like Spandau Ballet and ABC bringing it into the sort of centerfold of culture. It's camp, it's weird, it's dramatic, it's silly, it's, I guess it ticks a lot of boxes for how I identify as a person. Um, and I also think a lot of people see that in me as well. It's kind of like, oh, you were born in the wrong time. I wasn't born in the wrong time. I was born perfectly to bring this nostalgia from the 80s back to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's music that I listen to. It's music that I enjoy, and the sort of synth wave, 808 drum machines. It's all very. It all has rhythm. It all has motion, and it's just interesting music to me.
So how did you come to kind of do what you do? Have you always worked in performance art? Have you had to work a couple of like get you tied over sort of jobs in the meantime? Like what's the journey been to sort of where you are now?
So I only started, I guess, performing full time when I was 24. Um, I see. I never like telling this story because I am writing a whole entire show about it. But I used to be a pest controller in my past.
I read
Um,
about this on your website. Yeah. What?
so
No way.
so I, where I grew up, there weren't a huge amount of opportunities for queer cabaret idiots or even performers in that way. So I kind of left school and went into a trade and worked out of a van. And then I got to 24 and was like, oh no, I've got all these dreams that I've just kind of been ignoring. Um, so I quit the job before I even had anything lined up. And again, I mean, this whole industry is built on nepotism. Um, my friend invited me to a house party and was like really, really trying to get me to sing karaoke. I said, no, I'm not going to sing karaoke. I don't want to sing karaoke. Sung karaoke classic Valerie, the Amy Winehouse cover. And this woman comes up to me and she's got got the face of somebody who works in the industry, and it's like, oh, I run an agency. Would you like to join our books? And I said,
Oh, wow.
yeah, actually, I would. But then I tell this story, and I usually skip the part where it's like 2 months of being unemployed and signing on and being altogether a little bit sorry for myself. And then I went and worked in the leisure and tourism industry. So I was step clicking to Jersey Boys over in Spain.
Oh,
Lovely.
dreamy.
I mean, it was fun. It was you kind of get paid quite a nice amount of money for 1 hour's work a day with a day off a week in paradise. Like going from pest control in Gravesend to Mallorca, it was a definite improvement. But then obviously over the pandemic, I was like, oh, I'd quite like to actually express myself instead of being these characters, you know. Um, so yeah, that's the abridged version of how I came to be in this industry.
Yeah, save the rest for the show, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
there's going to be costumes, there's going to be instruments, it's going to be wild, but I'm not giving it to anyone until 2024 because there's quite a lot of preparation that is required for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I bet. Yes. So it's interesting to hear you say that, because I think it's easy to look at people who are doing big exciting things and being able to do the things that they want, and forget that there is a very unglamorous side to freelancing, and even just working in kind of this industry and like performing and entertainment and stuff. It's not all like getting to make pretty graphics for your marketing materials and like going out and doing shows and going for drinks after. Like, it's not all that all the time, is it? So, you know, because there's a lot of our friends, because we finished uni last year, but a lot of our friends for a couple of months have just that are now freelancers and unfortunately landed in work, so it's all turned out for them. But we know plenty of people that were just like
grinding
well,
and grinding.
Yeah. And things have come to them now, but at the time it's hard to see your friends put so much work in and be so worthy of jobs, and you just think, why are people not snapping their hands off? Why are people not snapping these people up? But
I
yeah.
feel like when you're in it, it's quite embarrassing because the
Yes.
problem with freelancing is that you tie so much of your worth to yourself, and when yourself is your career, you just start, if nobody replies to your emails, you think, oh God, I'm not worth anything. Oh, I should just get back in the bin from whence I came. And you know, even at the level that I'm at now, which I would say I'm in quite a comfortable place, I still have those thoughts. I still wonder if, you know, if the world deserves, no, if I deserve the work that I'm getting, or if I deserve work full stop. And it's like a vicious cycle, because the less you think of yourself, the less you present yourself to the people that are giving you work, and oh, what a car crash, really.
Well, just on that, just because we were talking earlier about we were talking about the kind of things we wanted to ask, and we were thinking about, what do you do when your audience isn't as receptive as you would like them to be? Because you're never going to get your perfect audience every time. So have you had those situations where your audience has been a bit not what you would have hoped for?
I performed in Oxford on Thursday, and there's I don't know if either of you remember, or whoever's seen the show, I can't remember. Both of you have seen the show? One of you have seen the show?
Me, I have.
Nearly
Yeah.
seen it. I've not yet.
Sorry.
That's all right.
There's a VO at the start of the show that's kind of, it's for me to see what kind of audience I'm about to come out to, and it's something along the lines of, are you ready for a night of entertainment? And usually at least like 5 people will woo, or they'll clap, or we'll just do something. And there was nothing.
Oh.
And then this little VO thing goes on. It's only about 20 seconds long. It says, please welcome to the stage, Aidan Sadler. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh
And I
dear.
just thought, this is going to be real, quite hard work. So I came out there and I see this audience stone-faced, as if, you know, I had just interrupted their evening, as if they were perfectly happy to be sat in this auditorium
Oh no.
staring at an empty stage, as if they were more content being in the lobby. And I just, you know, I just adapted the show to the kind of audience that I was performing for. So, you know, there was a lady in the front row who I was very grateful for. She's called Julia. We've now got each other on social media, who I just kept stopping the show to have a chat with, because she was engaged and
Oh,
she
brilliant.
wanted to be there. So if 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 they don't want it made about them, let's make it about the one person who's there to have a good time. And then it kind of, her energy, and I was very grateful for it, kind of spread across the room, where we were all having fun getting to know this woman in the front row. And by the end of the night, sure, they weren't having, it wasn't the most crazy uproar applause that I've had, but they were having a better time than when they'd arrived. So it's just about kind of feeling the energy of a room, and obviously if the energy is like wild and electric, it's going to be a great show. But if it's not, it's just we're going to tailor it to get us better than nothing.
Yeah, I bet. God, that
That
does
must have
sound
been.
hard,
It's
yeah.
brilliant that you can adapt so quickly and just sort of okay, cool. We're going to chat to Julia. We're going to see how she is.
We all need a Julia.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant.
I did say I want to take her on tour with me, just pop her in a little suitcase and sit her on the front row. She kept launching into these monologues about how the audience didn't deserve me and how talented I was. It was like, oh, I really do need this today. Thank you, Julia.
Oh,
Bless.
Bless, yeah. Right, we are heading towards the end of the episode, so now we ask the good stuff. Who would play you in a film about your life?
So I'm queer, so I imagine it would probably be somebody straight. Let's bring Eddie. Let's bring Eddie Redmayne out of whatever he's in at the moment because he loves playing a queer. Let's get him to do it.
Rouge at the minute? Is that right? Moulin Rouge?
He was in
Cabaret.
Cabaret. Now he's in Moulin Rouge.
That's it.
They can charge more
yeah,
if it's got a celeb in it. So yeah, there's accessible theatre for you.
See also Mike Bartlett's cock that we were speaking about. This is a show.
Oh my god!
The £400 tickets
that they tried to defend.
Wild.
Absolutely obscene.
Yeah.
And the cheapest ones now, I think they're about 200 and something pounds. So I mean, a snip, I'll take the whole row. But it's just ridiculous that they can charge that much and then be like, theatre is not being gate kept. All this.
It's like, for everyone.
What are you talking about? It was ridiculous. So me and my mum went to see Everybody's Talking About Jamie a while ago, which is great, by the way. Everyone should go and see it. And in the row we were in, we bought tickets really early, so we managed to get quite good stalls tickets while they were still a reasonable price. But next to us, there was like 5 empty seats, and there was 2 blokes sitting at the end of them, and we overheard them saying to whoever else they were with, oh yeah, well, we just bought these 7 tickets and we were just going to sit wherever was best view. And we were just like gobsmacked. It was...
Wow.
People are just absolutely nuts, aren't they? It's just
I wish I had money.
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I'd love to be a whole
bliss.
row. Everybody's talking about Jamie, but there you go.
Why not?
Yes. So, right, what were the other ones? Right, the questions we ask each other in the office on a daily basis, I have to really stop myself from saying it's podcast guests because I know it's really jarring. Because we come in the morning and we'll be like, right, what tubular object would you be?
It's bizarre.
Tubular object? Was that tubular object?
Yeah,
What,
so
what
my
is a
answer
tubular object?
Right, my answer is, when you order a poster and it comes in the cardboard cylinders with the 2 plastic caps on either end.
Right, okay, I get what we're doing.
Unhinged behaviour from the content office itself. Yeah.
What tubular object I would be?
Yeah.
You know, like a nana's garden. You know those little hanging things, the wind chimes.
Oh yeah.
I'd be one of those, just chilling out in a nana's garden, making nice noises, annoying the neighbours.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, great answer.
What was your answer? Were you pasta?
I probably was.
Yeah.
Why not? I'll be pasta.
Yeah.
I'll be penne.
Oh, I didn't even think of food.
I
know. This is the thing. There's a whole world of tubular objects out there.
You'll be thinking about it for the whole afternoon now. You won't be able to stop.
I will.
But I keep meaning to write a list of just all these unhinged questions because there's a list of like 5 that we for sure ask newcomers. And the first one is always, what role would you be in a medieval village? And then what are the other ones?
Bard. Absolutely bard. Or jester. I think it's
so brilliant.
Quite fun to perform with the risk of you being murdered if they're not entertained.
I mean,
Oxford, they would have had me right off. I would have been dead at the end of that one.
I want to be a farrier, but I bet they didn't have women farriers in medieval times, did they?
They didn't have women anything, probably.
Yeah, they probably didn't have women, actually. I probably wouldn't have existed, so there you
go. Yeah. Oh, well.
I'd have been like the woman that feeds the pigeons, or someone useless. Just
What,
NPC.
from Home Alone? Do you know Home Alone was only in the 90s? It wasn't medieval.
Maybe.
Mary Poppins, feed the birds.
Yeah, that's Gen Zers for you. Oh my God, Home Alone was in medieval times. From back in the day. Oh God. Right, we'll round this up before we go too far in the day. Yeah. Right. So at this point, what would you like to plug to our audience?
There is a website called aidansadler.com where you can see whatever I'm up to and when. I have some tour dates. I'm doing the big Edinburgh Fringe at Assembly Blue Room the whole month of August at 10:20. But yeah, have a look on my website and you will see where I'm going to be and when. I also have social media at Aidan K. Sadler.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at the Edinburgh Fringe, where we will be
we'll be front row.
We'll be sat with Julie on the front row.
Yeah, us and Julia.
Bring your tubular objects.
Yeah, we will.
You'll see us and be like, oh my God.
Here they come.
But yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. I can't wait to see the show for the first time, and I'm sure you can
I'd love to see it again.
Time. Yes. But until then, thank you very much for giving up your time to come and speak to us about your experiences and what's heading for in the future. To anyone listening, thank you. I'm looking at the microphone like they're there. To anyone that's listening, thank you very much, and we'll speak to you next time. So, ta for now.